Hey everyone, Chris Higgins from Electric Monk here. So today's video is all about the country property in HubSpot. We're going to talk about some best practices and I want to share a trick with you that will help make this property significantly more useful than it is straight out of the box. So the country property is a standard contact property in every HubSpot portal, and unsurprisingly, it's used to capture the country that each of your contacts lives in. By default, the country property is a single line text field. Now, I reckon I could rant for a solid 3 or 4 hours on the pitfalls of text fields in a system like HubSpot, but the TLDR version is that whilst they are a necessary evil, in most cases, they suck, and you should avoid using them at every opportunity, especially if the data that you're collecting via these fields is going to be used for segmentation. So, why all the hate on text fields? Well, the main problem with text fields is that the people filling them in can enter pretty much any data that they like into them, whether that's your customers via the forms on your website or your colleagues entering data into the HubSpot backend. By offering people a free text field to complete, you're opening your database up to an enormous world of hurt. So, before we look at a solution for this, I want to take a second to talk about why text fields are so problematic, particularly in a system such as HubSpot. And the country property is actually a great example of a field that can cause you a lot of issues. We're going to take where I live in the UK as an example. So there's a variety of terms that people use to refer to the UK. Officially, we're the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, but usually that's abbreviated to Great Britain or the United Kingdom or the UK, and sometimes with full stops after each letter and sometimes without. And then you've got the 4 countries that actually make up the UK: Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and England. Presented with a free text field asking for their country, someone who lives in Scotland might type United Kingdom, but they're probably just as likely to type in Scotland. And it's also not uncommon to see the UK and the Republic of Ireland grouped together as one region, so either UK/Ireland or Ireland/UK. Now, whilst all these names might be considered correct, HubSpot would count every one of these variations as a unique country. So let's say you're trying to segment your database by country and you create an active list of all contacts whose country field is listed as United Kingdom. Whilst the contacts who have their country field listed as United Kingdom would appear in that list, anyone with their country listed as Scotland, Wales, UK, or any other variation would not be on that list. Okay, so that's probably enough of a geography lesson for the time being. Now we're going to take a look at how to go about fixing this in HubSpot, which is actually really straightforward. What we're going to do is convert the country property from a text field into a dropdown. Now this is actually one of the first things I do with every new HubSpot portal I configure, and I would really recommend you do it because it will save you loads of headaches further down the track. By doing this, you'll be giving your customers and users a list of predetermined options for them to choose from, rather than just presenting them with a text field and leaving it to chance that they type the right thing in. So, we're going to jump into the settings for the country property. So from your HubSpot dashboard, you click the settings icon in the top right corner, and then click the properties menu on the left side. Once you reach the property settings page, type country into the search box, and then click the property name. And this will take you to the page where you can manage the settings for this specific property. Now, if you look at the bottom of the page here, you'll see the option for field type, which HubSpot has set by default as single line text. If you click this drop down, you'll see a list of other field types that you can select from. And the one we're going to use is drop down select. Okay, so you'll see we've now got this drop down options panel. You should also have a blank row here. We're going to come back to this in a minute. What we need to do now is enter the values that will appear in our new drop-down list, and there are a couple of ways you can do this. The first option is to manually type in your own custom property values. Now this is useful if your business only operates in a specific geographical area, such as Europe, and you only want to give your users and your team a limited number of options to choose from. The enter your own option is also useful if you're syncing data with another system and you need to have custom labels and database values that match your existing system. Alternatively, if you don't want to enter your own custom values, you can click this load options button. So HubSpot actually has a selection of common drop-down options preloaded for you to use, things like days of the week, education level, and time zone. And there's also a country option, which will populate your field with a standardized list of 252 countries. So to do this, click the Choose Options drop-down and then select Country. Once you click that Load Options button, HubSpot will load those values automatically for you. Now, you may notice that you've got a blank row at the top of the list. This is the one that appeared when we first converted this property to a drop-down a minute ago. You don't actually need this, so you can delete it by clicking on this checkbox and then selecting the Remove option. Final thing you need to do is just go through the list and make sure that you're happy with all the values. If you want to change or remove any of them, you can easily do that. Once you're happy, hit the Save button, and that's it. Your country property is now a drop-down field. If we jump across to the Contacts section of HubSpot and take a look at one of our contacts, you can see when you click on the country property that you've got your list of options that you just created rather than a free text field. So I always recommend to my customers that they avoid using free text fields wherever possible. Obviously, for properties like email or name, where there's an infinite number of possible variables, a text field is the only solution. But in cases like this, where there's a limited number of choices, a drop-down property is ideal and will allow you to maintain much tighter control over the data that is getting plugged into your HubSpot database. I hope you found this tutorial useful. As always, any questions or feedback regarding the video, please feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.